Fair use statement. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotaped or video disc, without authorization of the copyright holder. This infringement of the copyright is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news, reporting, teaching, and parody. This article is written with any image and video, includes music used in the videos in this article are used in compliance with this law. Copyright Act of 1976, 17 U.S.C. 107. Now let's learn. Alright. I guess I'd say Happy Halloween or Happy Druid's Day. Maybe Happy Druid's Day. Nonetheless, let's do a quick 15-minute video, and we're going to learn a lot of things as fast as we can. So, first and foremost, there's a word. The word is Halloween. You know, I could care less for just taking words for their face value, so I decided to break the word up and understand what it is, where it comes from. So you're going to learn too. Halloween, H-A-L-L-O-W-E-E-N. We're going to break it up. Hallow. Like hallowed be thy name, right? Whatever. Alright, so let's look at the first word. Hallow, shout, to call attention. 1781, earlier. Holo, holla, see, hello. Such forms being mere syllables to call attention. Call attention. Call attention. Are freely varied from sonorous effect. Century Dictionary, Old English, had ia la. Hallow as a shipman's cry. A shipman's cry. To incite effort is from mid-15th century. Halloo as a verb, to pursue with shouts. To pursue with shouts. To shout in the chase is from late 14th century. Compare also haro, cry or distress. Cry or distress. Late 13th century from French. Alright. You can see here it goes to hello. Greeting between persons meeting, 1881, alteration of hallo. There's our word. Itself, so it's an alteration. Hallo, right? Pursue with shouts, to shout in the chase, is altered in 1881 to become hello. So to say hello, the altered version is hallo, which hello being altered version, it really means to pursue with shouts or to shout and chase. Now we can take that in so many directions, but we're not. We're going to let that sit on the table for what it is. Let's go find out what ween means, right? So there's our second word. Halloween. Ween, right? Ween, it's a verb. Be of the opinion, have the notion. It's archaic. Old English weenen, to fancy, imagine, believe, expect, hope. Right? That's that face right there, isn't that? From Proto-Germanic, winjan, to hope. Source also of Old Saxon, wanyan, Old Norse, vena, Old Friskin, wana, Old High German, wanen, German, honin, wanin, Gothic, winjan, to expect, suppose, think. From one is, expectation. From the root win, to wish, to desire, and to strive for. Wish, desire, strive for. Now we need to look this one up because it says see Venus. So let's go see Venus. Venus, late Old English from Latin Venus, plural Veneris. In ancient Roman mythology, it's the goddess of beauty and love, especially sensual love. From Venus, love, sexual desire, loveliness, beauty, charm, a beloved object. A beloved. To strive after, to wish or desire. Look at this. Wish or desire. Desire what? The beloved object. Wish to charm. To strive after beauty, right? To strive after loveliness, right? To wish for that sexual desire or love, all right? So this is where Halloween comes from. So we have first and foremost to pursue, right? After your desires. Halloween is to pursue after your desires. What the heck does that mean? How is that relevant to this wonderful day they call Halloween? Don't know, but let's find out. So, we're going to look at the ancient origins of Halloween. We'll do that first. Alright, so let's see. Let me enlarge this for you all. Bear with me. Alright. Straddling the line between fall and winter, plenty and paucity, life and death, Halloween is a time of celebration and superstition. Now, where do we know superstition from? Right, the people of the Americas were a superstitious people, obviously. But it's not superstition like the way that they tell us it is today, like black cat walking under a ladder. No, superstitious was supernatural. They believed in a most high power of supernatural things, right? So technically they were nature people. It is thought to have originated with the ancient, right? Halloween's thought to have originated with the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off roaming ghosts. Interesting. So let's go look at Samhain. Samhain. Alright. Samhain. I guess Samhain. Samhain. Not Samhain. It's pronounced Samhain. Samhain. So in Irish pronunciation, Samhain is a Gaelic festival marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, or the darker half of the year. Traditionally, it is celebrated from the very beginning of one Celtic day to its end, or in the modern calendar from sunset on 31st of October to sunset on the 1st of November. This places it about halfway between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. It is one of the 4 Gaelic seasonal festivals, along with Imbolc, Beltane, and LUFTT. Historically, it was widely observed throughout Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man. Similar festivals are held at the same time of year in other Celtic lands. For example, the Brythonic Galan Gaeth in Wales, Calan Gaeaf in Cornwall, and Calan Gan in Brittany. Samhain is believed to have Celtic pagan origins, and there is evidence it has been an important date since ancient times. The Mound of the Hostages. Mound of Hostages. Okay, now first I want to point out, we already did a video on Druids, so all those names I just read through, you should already know these are the Druid lands where Druid people come out of. Alright, now let's go look at this Mound of the Hostages. Alright, so Mound of the Hostages. The Mound of the Hostages, Irish, Duma, not Ngil, is an ancient passage tomb located in the Tara Skryne Valley in County Meath, Leinster Island. The mound is a Neolithic structure built between 3000 BCE and 2500. It is circular in form, roughly 15 meters in diameter and 3 meters high. It is built in the same style as the New Grange tomb. The structure is dome-shaped, with an inset for the entrance and a small doorway set almost 1 meter into the side of the monument. The doorway is framed with undecorated standing stones, as is common in passage tombs. This alignment allows for the rising sun to shine down the passageway at only 2 times of the year, illuminating the chamber within. At this mound, the passage is illuminated on the mornings of Samhain and Imbolc, at the beginning of November and February, respectively, inside the passage. Into the mounds of the hostages stretches for 4 meters in length, 1 meter in width, and is 1.8 meters high. It contains decorated sill stones with images of swirls, circles, and X patterns, designed associated with Mesolithic passage tomb art. 3 compartments, one housed buried remains. The mound was used for burials. Burial mounds. From the early Neolithic up to 1600 to 1700 BCE, there are an estimated 250 to 500 bodies buried in the mound. A burial Mound. Organized into layers under the passage. The dead were most often cremated and their ashes and grave goods spread on the floor of the tomb. Now, here's the difference. Let's look at this again. The dead were most often cremated and their ashes and grave goods spread on the floor of the tomb. These grave goods include decorative pottery and urns, stone beads, and bone pins. The remains were then covered with stone slabs. With this method, layers of ashes and stone built up over time and successive burials. More burials occurred at this site in the Bronze Age, and space in the passage eventually became unavailable. So the bodies were then placed in the mound itself. Over 40 remains have been removed from the mound. They have been buried in the Bronze Age style, with inverted cinerary urns placed over the cremation ashes. The full body of a Bronze Age adolescent was also discovered in the mound. Now, I'm going to stop and I'm going to suggest that Bronze Age okay. Now I'm interested in a different way. Now, copper colored races. Okay? Copper colored races. I'm going to only ask a question without being able to prove at this exact moment, because I'm just talking about this Druid holiday, and I'm going to spark a question, because now, upon reading something, my brains are spinning. The copper colored people, right? You see here, copper colored, right? So when I see here, they had been buried in the Bronze Age style, with inverted cinerary urns placed over the cremation ashes. The full body of a Bronze Age adolescent was also discovered in the mound. Copper-colored people, adolescent Bronze Age person discovered in the mound. Bronze. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. Let's do this right here. Let's see if we can. What else do we get? Alright. So I have to use it just this way so you can get the gist of it. So let's look at copper. Right? This is the colors of copper. Now let's go to bronze. The colors of bronze. Now I can't technically connect these dots without certain information. I'm just saying, as I'm reading this now at this moment, this has crossed my mind. I'm questioning it. Copper, bronze. The full body of a Bronze Age adolescent was also discovered in the mound. Now, we just looked at copper and bronze. Let's go look at mounds. Mound builders. The varying cultures collectively called mound builders were inhabitants of North America. And who else was in North America? Copper-colored races, who, during a 5,000-year period, constructed various styles of earthen mounds for religious and ceremonial burial and elite residential purposes. These included the pre-Columbian cultures of the Archaic period. We see Archaic again, right? Woodland period, Adena and Hopewell cultures, and Mississippian period, dating from roughly 3500 BCE. The construction of Watson Brake to the 16th century CE, and living in regions of the Great Lakes, the Ohio River Valley, and the Mississippi River Valley and its tributary waters. Right? Now again, copper-colored races are living all over this land. We know this, and I will show you a video where a lovely lady takes the time to read a article, and we'll get to that shortly. Since the 19th century, the prevailing scholarly consensus has been that the mounds were constructed by indigenous peoples of the Americas. 16th century Spanish explorers made contact with natives living in a number of later Mississippian cities, described their cultures, and left artifacts. By the time of the United States westward expansion 200 years later, Native Americans were generally not knowledgeable about the civilizations that produced the mounds. Research and study of these cultures and peoples has been mostly on archaeological and anthropology. Now, there's no need for me to dig all into this. Brother Lex has already explained to you, me know not how mounds were built. Alright, just play that back in your head and this whole video should pop back up and you can understand the people that they call Native Americans today, their claim to fame. They have no claim because they don't know who built the mounds. Now, what I'm going to show you, you've already seen the video I did on Druids. We're looking at the Celt people. These people build mounds. These people build mounds. That was actually Lex calling right now. So Lex, when you see this video, you were actually calling me at the exact moment I was actually making the video, and so that's why I didn't answer. Making the video. So as we went through in the Druid video about the Celts and the islands they come from, the Welsh and so on and so forth, which we have already just read in this video again to see this Halloween thing, we understand that now these people build mounds and they put dead bodies in it. But here we find a Bronze Age adolescent was also discovered in the mound. Right? I didn't read this far earlier, and now that I've read this far, I actually want to read more. But who knows what more surprises are going to come down through this as I continue to read. So I'm going to stop here. I'm just going to go back to the main point of this video. We're talking about Happy Druids Day, right? Pursue with shouts to shout in the chase. Chase what? Your desire. Desire for what? Love, sex, loveliness, beauty, charm, beloved object. Right. So Halloween comes from this Celt people, and they were basically, well, you know what? Halloween, I'm not going to say comes from them, because, well, let's just go read more before we jump into all that. Alright, so Samhain, right? The Mound of the Hostages, a Neolithic passage tomb at the hill of Tara, is aligned with the Samhain sunrise. It is mentioned in some of the earliest Irish literature, and many important events in Irish mythology happen or begin on Samhain. It was the time when cattle were brought back down from the summer pastures and when livestock were slaughtered for the winter in the late Renaissance through the early 19th century. Now we know the Renaissance is basically the rebuilding period, right? 19th century, as at Beltane, special bonfires were lit. These were deemed to have protective and cleansing powers. Now we already understand the Druids, right? They believe in divination, magic, witchcraft, wiki, as Brother Lex has already brought out. These were deemed to have protective and cleansing powers, and there were rituals. And we know Druids did what? They practiced rituals involved. Like Beltane, Samhain was seen as a liminal time when the boundary between this world and the other world could more easily be crossed. So these people deal with familiar spirits, right? This meant the AOC, the spirits or fairies, could more easily come into our world. Most scholars see the OC as remnants of the pagan gods and nature spirits. At Samhain, it was believed that the AOC needed to be procreated to ensure that the people and their livestock survived the winter. The souls of the dead were also thought to revisit their homes seeking hospitality. Feasts were had at which the souls of dead kin were beckoned to attain and a place set at the table for them. Mumming and guising were part of the festival and involved people going door to door in costume or in disguise, often reciting verses in exchange for food. Verses. Oh, no. Ritualistic charming, right? because these people practice what? Witchcraft. We've already been through this. This is that connection of voodoo and that was created from symbiosis and syncretism. Alright, so often reciting charms or incantations in exchange for food. The costumes may have been a way of imitating and disguising oneself from the SC divination rituals, and games were also a big part of the festival and often involved nuts and apples. In the late 19th century, the pseudo-historians Sir John Rees and Sir James Fraser suggested that it was the Celtic New Year, but this view has been debunked by some other scholars. In the 9th century AD, Western Christianity shifted the date of All Saints' Day, All Saints' Day, All Saints' Day to the 1st of November, while 2nd of November later became All Souls' Day. So the first is All Saints' Day, and the second, now this is Western Christianity now, don't confuse yourselves. The first day of November is All Saints. The second day is All Souls. Over time, Samhain, and All Saints, All Souls merged their syncretism to create the modern Halloween. Historians have used the name Samhain to refer to Gaelic Halloween customs up until the 19th century. Now, two things to note. First and foremost, the word merged, right? Syncretism. Now let's go back up to where we saw the other word, Renaissance, right? Through the early 19th century. So, at this point, I'm going to have to say ancient Celtic believed in these things, but there's a Renaissance where they take beliefs and convert them to something else. We know the Renaissance that happened in Rome, so on and so forth, when the Romans came in and conquered that land. Are we seeing this happening again? Conquering, taking something, syncretism, merging it, symbiosis, when two things or two people groups come together in an unnatural way. It's unnatural for them to be combined. We see here Western Christianity merging All Saints Christianity. Christianity merging All Saints Christianity, All Saints, with the Samhain Souls Day, merged it to create Halloween. So the Druids and the Christians, right, have merged two beliefs to form Halloween. Since the latter 20th century, Celtic neo-pagans and Wiccans, witchcraft, Sam Wiki, have observed Samhain or something based on it. Syncretism as a religious holiday. So, Halloween is a religious holiday. To who? It's a Druid religious holiday, and the Western Christians have the same holiday. So the syncretism, the coming together of these beliefs via the Christian and the Druid, right? And we the Druids, go back to that video, have come together through their witchcraft, combining and making a religious holiday. Now, you say you're religious. Anybody says that? Anybody believes they're religious? You believe you're religious. Look at your religion then. Religious holiday. It's a holiday, right? A lot of you are going to get up and dress your kids up, don't know what you're doing it for. You're poisoning the kids. And you're probably not poisoning them if this is who you are. If you're a Christian or a Druid, you're not poisoning them. This goes back to your belief system. This is what you do, right? So, I was telling you earlier about the copper and the bronze, so I want to share a video. Hold 1 second. One more time, fair use act. But again, this lovely lady took the time to read some articles, and I just want to share what she has shared so you can all view it. You can always type that name up, get her channel, and I would advise you all subscribe, because she loves to read articles and different things she comes across, so it will be helpful as we continue to learn. But this again is only to help us understand more about the copper colored races and where I'm now seeing bronze. So enjoy.
It's Lex here coming at you with another video about indigenous people who are African American, or we call black, or anything you want to call them. To not be confused, to answer some of your comments, I'm not saying they are not African. What I'm merely saying is that the land used to be one mass, and we are the original people of this land, so we are everywhere. We don't just come from one place. We don't just come from Africa. We come from everywhere. So I found this article because I checked out some of the facts. It's real good facts. I'm just going to read the article. So let me start by saying, sorry, my baby's over here. Let me start by saying most U.S. blacks are Native Americans. An Italian explorer named Giovanni da Verrazano wrote a description in 1524 of the Carolina Indians he encountered. He wrote, the complexion of the Carolina Indians is black, not much different from that of the Ethiopians. Their hair is black and thick, and not very long, tied back behind their head like a small tail. As for the physique of these men and women, they are well proportionate, of medium height, a little taller than we are. They have broad chests, strong arms and legs, and other parts of their body are well composed. They're broad in the face, and they have big black eyes. They have a sharp cunning and agile and swift runners. Black historians was misrepresented or omitted from many American history texts. In the 1970s, African Americans embraced a book by Alex Haley, who was said to have been an FBI informant. Haley may not have been commissioned to write Roots as disinformation. He may have been commissioned to write Roots as disinformation campaign against Native Americans who are black. Here, Dick Gregory discussed Alex as being a U.S. government informant agent. Native Americans whose ancestors were from Asia and Africa apparently occupied Turtle Island peacefully and in the freedom for thousands of years, until welcome sailors from Europe. Oppressive whites moved people who were living here up or down the Mississippi River to relocate them to less familiar territory and enslave them, along with Africans arriving through the Middle Passage. So, oh crap. My baby just spilled something, so you know better. So, I still don't believe that every black person in America came from Africa on a slave ship. I do believe a small, very small percentage of them did. So, along with the Africans arriving through the Middle Passage, today African Americans could be and are descendants of free blacks who have always lived on Turtle Island, or descendants of some African slaves, or possibly both. This is
Alright. It is Lexi London down here, as you can see. You can type that in. Please subscribe. Continue to watch the video because she lets loose more information from the article she's reading. And again, she does do a lot of different videos on different things that she finds out. Please go visit the site, her YouTube page, and subscribe and start listening. Alright, so that was just to help us see more insight about the copper-colored races. It goes back here. There's copper, and then there is bronze. So we see bronze here, and then we know when we read the page on Samhain or whatever it is, we saw the bronze. Where is it? It doesn't matter. Back the video up, and you can see that part again. Alright, so now let's get the origin Let's just a quick video, and then we're going to close this out. I really intend this video to be short. So again, we're going to look at the origins of Halloween, a quick video that somebody else has put together, so we can see what's going on with this Samhain, or Druid's Day, or Halloween.
Welcome back to the Boo Review. With Halloween mere days away, I thought it may be appropriate to give a little backstory to the holiday and its origins. I'll keep it brief, with links to further materials in the description if you find yourself wanting to do a bit of research on your own. Now let's jump right in. It all starts some time ago with the Celts, who were known to reside in Western Europe, more pointedly in Ireland and northern France, some 2,000 years ago. The Celtic festival of Samhain was held starting in the evening of October 31st to lead into the new year, which the Celts recognized as November 1st. During the time of Samhain, it was believed that the borders between the worlds of the living and the dead became thin, and the spirits of the deceased would attempt to return to the earth.
I'm not going to let that slide past. Hold on one second. Yep. Let's go and blow that up. Samhain, Samhain, and Sabbath. Samhain and Sabbath. Samhain and Sabbath. See that word? Sabbath. Right? We've already been through the word Sabbath. It's sacrifice day. Right? It's the day of sacrificing warm blood. Sabbath, sacrifice warm blood. Right? Druids sacrificed flesh, warm blood. Sabbath is the day where you sacrifice warm blood. There's no confusion. That's Druidism. Druidism. Now, again, I'm going to tell you people it's a hard pill to swallow. But now you're seeing a connection of the Druids to the Sabbath. Druids practice the Samhain and the Sabbath. Let's read this real quick. At Samhain, October 31st, we say farewell to the god. Farewell to the god. This is a temporary farewell. He isn't wrapped in eternal darkness, but ready to be reborn of the goddess at Yule. Samhain, also known as November Eve, Feast of the Dead. Sabbath, sacrifice warm blood. Druids sacrifice warm blood. Sabbath people. You people claim fame to the Sabbath. Stop that shit. Sabbath is the sacrifice of warm blood. This is Druidism, the practice of the Druids. Go back and see the video I did on Druids. Don't play yourselves. This is what's going down with that Sabbath. Samhain, also known as November Eve, Feast of the Dead. Feast of the Dead. Feast of the Dead. Feast of Apples, Hallows, and All Hallows once marked the time of sacrifice. In some places, this was the time when animals were slaughtered. Who slaughters animals in the Bible? That Bible. You see slaughtering of animals all in that Bible, right? In some places, this was the time when animals were slaughtered to ensure food throughout the depths of winter. The trees of the forest and the many plants of the field also die, and whether only to be reborn in the spring. Right? Who is reborn in the spring? Jesus, right, is reborn in the spring, right? Isn't it when he's reborn? Right? I don't care about that Christmas shit. Get to the root of their shit. As the god falls, so does the animals fall as well to ensure our continuing existence. This is a time of reflection, of looking back over the last year, of coming to terms with the one phenomenon of life over which we have no control, death. On this night, the separation between the physical and spiritual realities is thin. We remember our ancestors and all those who have gone before. This is the time of year to work on family history. Right, now who always goes back and worships their patriarchal people, right? Where is this taught? Where does this come from? Samhain, Sabbath. This is Druidism, right? They teach the worshiping of their forefathers as these great people, right? Now we're seeing the origins of the combining, the creation of the Bible itself. This is what we're seeing. This is syncretism, okay? Symbiosis, which you learned in the Druid video, is where two groups of people merge together, right? And then syncretism is the merging of different beliefs and religions, right? I told you people, go back and watch the letters from the bishop to London, where they tell you about who you were before they conquered you, right? Let's continue. We remember our ancestors and all those who have gone before. This is the time of year to work on family history, to research family genealogy, and to collect and to preserve stories and photographs of our ancestors. Images and mementos can be placed around the altar. There's the altar, right? In remembrance of beloved family members that have departed. So these people, right, these Druids practice slaughtering, a feast of the dead, and an altar worship and remembrance of their ancestors, right? This is Druidism. This is Druidism, right? Samhain and the Sabbath. The altar is set up, the candles and censer are lit, and the circle of stones is cast. Tonight the great gates of the lands of summer open for one we hold dear, the sun god. Now, you saw my other videos, I told you that, you know, this worshiping of the sun itself, right? They worship the sun. Here's the sun god. His life waning has made the pleasant journey, now centers into the land of youth until he comes forth again. And this is the way for us all. Therefore, look not upon death as a foe to be beaten, or as a friend to be welcomed too early. Simply see it as but another step to your involvement, an inevitable one, as the rising of the sun and the setting of the moon. No more, no less, thus can your life be lived fully without fear and worry. For all are reborn by the gracious goddess, the moon goddess, right? They worship the sun and the moon. And thus, in the time of the greatest darkness, there is the greatest light. All meditate communication with our ancestors who have passed on. We remember your lives and all in the many gifts that have been passed down to us. We hold your memories close to us during this time and strive to live our lives through the wisdom you have taught us. The simple feast, the circle is released, feasting and conversation follow. Alright, so we know what the feast is. The feast is the feast of the dead. They're eating flesh. We already know what happened in the slavery times. They burnt your ass up picnic style and ate your flesh. Come on, it's the Druids. Samhain and the Sabbath. Sabbath is the sacrifice of the warm blood. So what we're seeing here, Halloween, Sabbath, it's all the same shit. It's from Druids. This is what they do, and so whatever. Let's continue with the video.
Then, and the spirits of the deceased would attempt to return to the earth, causing trouble. To ward off these intruders into the living world, the Celts would wear costumes, possibly to frighten the spirits away. I suppose hoping the spirits were just as afraid of us as we are of them, while the Celtic Druids would build large bonfires where crops and animals were sacrificed to the Celtic deities for protection. In time, the Roman Empire would conquer the Celts as they did much of the Western European world, and they would begin a mixing of cultures and festivals, namely the Roman festivals of Feralia, where the Romans would celebrate the passing of the dead, and a festival in honor of the goddess Pomona, goddess of fruit and trees, with the existing Samhain festivities. Between the 7th and 11th centuries, the influence of Christianity would begin taking foothold in the old Celtic lands as well. November 1st was observed in remembrance of saints and martyrs, All Saints' Day, also known as All Hallows, coming from the Middle English All Hallowmas, hence the name All Hallows Eve used in regard to October 31st, which later became known as Halloween. Halloween traveled to America largely via immigration during the 19th century and over time developed from the religious to the secular holiday that is recognized today. While other countries around the world may have some sort of festival in the same spirit of Halloween, whether during the fall or some other time of year, such as the Hungry Ghost Festival held in some Asian countries with Buddhist and Taoist roots, the Halloween that we know here in the US is a largely American holiday. That's not to say, however, that it isn't celebrated at all outside of the US, as it does receive recognition in some Western European countries. Australia, which I've read mixed opinions on, as it's based on an American-style holiday which has no cultural significance to the country, and recently in Japan due to increasingly popular Western influence. And recently in Japan due to holiday which has no cultural significance to the country, holiday which has no cultural significance to the country, holiday which has no cultural significance to the country, holiday which has no cultural significance to the country, and recently in Japan due to increasingly popular Western influences. And there you have it. There's plenty more to say, but there's your quick primer on the origins and development of the Halloween that we know here in the US and its influence. If you'd like to know more, there are resources in the description for further information. In the meantime, we'll be working here at the...
Alright, I think that should wrap it up. I think you guys probably have seen enough to get a better understanding of what is really going on. It's all connected. I will be putting the links that I have just went through in the description box so you can look it and read it yourself and not assume that I'm making shit up. So enjoy that, and enjoy this Druid's Day, this Samhain, this Halloween, whatever the heck you want to add it to. Enjoy it. That's your thing. I'm just saying to people who have waken up and understand what's really going on, particular people, this shit ain't got nothing to do with you. Let go of that dumb shit.